Women who run with the wolves. Chapter 15. Shadowing. Canto, Hondo, the deep song. Shadowing means to have such a light touch, such a light tread, that one can move freely through the forest, observing without being observed. A wolf shadows anyone or anything that passes through her territory. It is her way of gathering information. It is the equivalent of manifesting and then becoming like smoke, and then manifesting again. Wolves can move ever so softly. The sound they make is in the manner of Los Angeles timidos, the shyest angels. First, they fall back and shadow the creature they're curious about. Then, all of a sudden, they appear ahead of the creature, peeking half-face, with one golden eye from behind a tree. Abruptly, the wolf turns and vanishes in a blur of white ruff and plumed tail, only to backtrack and pop up behind the stranger again. That is shadowing. The wild woman has been shadowing human women for years. Now we see a glimpse of her. Now she is invisible again. Yet she makes so many appearances in our lives, in so many different forms. We feel surrounded by her images and urges. She comes to us in dreams or in stories, especially stories from our own personal lives. For she wants to see who we are and if we are ready to join her yet. But if we look at the shadows we cast, we see that they are not two-legged human shadows, but the lovely shapes of a something free and wild. We are meant to be permanent residents, not just tourists in her territory, for we are derived from that land. It is our motherland and our inheritance at the same time. The wild force of our soul psyches is shadowing us for a reason. There is a saying from medieval times that if you are in a desert and pursued by a great power, and if this great power is able to snag your shadow, then you too shall become a power in your own right. The great and good wild force of your own psyches means to place its paw on our shadows. And in that manner, she claims us as her own. Once the wild woman snags our shadows, we belong to ourselves again. We are in our own right environment and in our own rightful home. Most women are not afraid of this. In fact, they crave the reunion. If they could this very moment find the lair of the wild woman, they would dive right in and jump happily into her lap. They only need to be set in the right direction, which is always down, down into one's own work, down into one's own inner life, down through the tunnel into the lair. We began our search for the wild, whether as girl children or as adult women, because in the midst of some ardent endeavor, we felt that a wild and supportive presence was near. Perhaps we found her tracks across fresh snow in a dream, or psychically we noticed a bent twig here and there, pebbles overturned so their wet sides faced upward. And we knew that something blessed had passed our way. We sensed within our own psyches the sound of a familiar breath from far. We felt tremors in the ground, and we innately knew that something powerful, something important, some wild freedom within us was on the move. We could not run from it, but rather followed, learning more and more how to leap, how to run, how to shadow all things that came across our psychic ground. We began to shadow the wild woman, and she lovingly shadowed us in return. She howled, and we tried to answer her, even before we remembered how to speak her language, and even before we exactly knew to whom we were speaking. And she waited for us and encouraged us. This is the miracle of the wild and instinctual nature. Without full knowing, we knew. Without full sight, we understood that a miraculous and loving force existed beyond the boundaries of ego alone. As a child, Opal Whiteley wrote these words about reconciliation with the power of the wild. Today, near eventime, I did lead the girl who has no seeing a little way into the forest, where it was darkness and shadows were. I led her toward a shadow that was coming our way. It had touched her cheeks with its velvety fingers. Now she too does have likings for shadows, and her fear that was is gone. The things that have been lost to women for centuries can be found again by following the shadows they cast. And make a candle to Guadalupe, for these lost and stolen treasures still cast shadows across our night dreams and in our imaginal daydreams and in old stories, in poetry, and in any inspired moment. Women across the world, your mother, my mother, you and I, your sister, your friend, our daughters, all the tribes of women not yet met. We all dream what is lost, what must next rise from the unconscious. We all dream the same dreams worldwide. We are never without the map. We are never without each other. We unite through our dreams. Dreams are compensatory. They provide a mirror into the deep unconscious, most often reflecting what is lost and what is yet needed for correction and balance. Through dreams, the unconscious constantly produces teaching images. So like a fabled lost continent, the wild dreamland rises out of our sleeping bodies, rises steaming and streaming to create a sheltering motherland over all of us. This is the continent of our knowing. This is the land of our self. And this is what we dream. We dream the archetype of wild woman. We dream of reunion. And we are born and reborn from this dream every day and create from its energy all during the daytime. We are born and reborn night after night from the same wild dream, and we return to daylight grasping a coarse hair, the soles of our feet black with damp earth, our hair smelling like ocean or forest or cook fire. It is from that land that we step into our day clothes, our day lives. We travel from that wildish place in order to sit before the computer, in front of the cook pot, before the window, in front of the teacher, the book, the customer. We breathe the wild into our corporate work, our business creations, our decisions, our art, the work of our hands and hearts, our politics, spirituality, plans, home life, education, industry, foreign affairs, freedoms, rights and duties. The wild feminine is not only sustainable in all worlds, it sustains all worlds. Let us admit it, we women are building a motherland, each with her own plot of soil, eked from a night of dreams, a day of work. We are spreading the soil in larger and larger circles, slowly, slowly. One day it will be a continuous land, a resurrected land come back from the dead. Munda de la Madre, psychic mother world, coexisting and co-equal with all other worlds. This world is being made from our lives, our cries, our laughter, our bones. It is a world worth making, a world worth living in, a world in which there is prevailing and decent wild sanity. When we think of reclamation, it may bring to mind bulldozers or carpenters, the restoration of an old structure, and that is the modern use of the word. However, the older meaning is this. The word reclamation is derived from the Old French reclamer, meaning to call back the hawk which has been let fly. Yes, to cause something of the wild to return when it is called. It is therefore by this meaning an excellent word for us. We are using the voices of our minds, our lives and our souls to call back intuition, imagination, to call back the wild woman, and she comes. Women cannot get away from this. If there is to be change, we are it. We carry la que sabe, the one who knows. If there is to be inner change, individual women must do it. If there is to be world change, we women have our own way of helping to achieve it. Wild woman whispers the words and the ways to us, and we follow. She has been running and stopping and waiting to see if we are catching up. She has something, many things to show us. So if you are on the verge of breaking away, taking a risk, daring to act in proscribed ways, then dig up the deepest bones possible, fructifying the old and natural aspects of women, of life, of men, of children, of earth. Use your love and good instincts to know when to growl, to pounce, to take a swipe, when to kill, when to retreat, when to bay till dawn, to live as closely as possible to the numinous wild woman, to live as closely as possible to the numinous wild. A woman must do more head tossing, more brimming, have more sniffing intuition, more creative life, more get down dirty, more solitude, more women's company, more natural life, more fire, more spirit, more cooking of words and ideas. She must do more recognition of sorority, more seeding, more rootstock keeping, more kindness to men, more neighborhood revolution, more poetry, more painting of fables and facts, longer reaches into the wild feminine, more terrorists sewing circles and more howling, and especially much more Canto, Hondo, much more deep song. She must shake out her pelt, strut the old pathways, assert her instinctual knowledge. We can all assert membership in the ancient Scar clan, proudly bear the battle scars of our time, write our secrets on walls, refuse to be ashamed, lead the way through and out. Let us not overspend on anger. Instead, let us be empowered by it. Most of all, let us be cunning and use our feminine wits. Let us keep in mind that the best cannot and must not hide. Meditation, education, all the dream analysis, all the knowledge of God's green acre is of no value if one keeps it all to oneself or to one's chosen few. So come out wherever you are. Leave deep footprints because you can. Be the old woman in the rocking chair who rocks the idea until it becomes young again. Be the courageous and patient woman in the crescent moon bear who learns to see through illusion. Don't be distracted by burning matches and fantasies like the little match girl. Hold out till you find the ones you belong to, like the ugly duckling. Clear the creative river so La Riona can find what belongs to her. Like the handless maiden, let the enduring heart lead you through the forest. Like La Loba, collect the bones of lost valuables and sing them back to life. Forgive as much as you can, forget a little, and create a lot. What you do today influences your matrilineal lines in the future. The daughters of your daughters are likely to remember you and, most importantly, follow in your tracks. The ways and means of living with instinctive nature are many, and the answers to your deepest questions change as you change and as the world changes. So it cannot be said, do this and this in this particular order and all will be well. But over my lifetime, as I have met wolves, I have tried to puzzle out how they live, for the most part, in such harmony. So for peaceable purposes, I would suggest you begin right now with any point on this list. For those who are struggling, it may help greatly to begin with number 10. General wolf rules for life. 1. Eat. 2. Rest. 3. Rove in between. 4. Render loyalty. 5. Love the children. 6. Cavil in moonlight. 7. Tune your ears. 8. Attend to the bones. 9. Make love. 10. How often?